We love meeting anybody who's interested in our community and seeing if it's a good fit. Do you guys have questions about our community, or what's your story?
We grew up in a fundamentalist Mormon community and went to church there. And after moving, we stopped going to church and doing it regularly
because we didn't have to go to.
Yeah.
The state of Utah was threatening prosecution because of our beliefs, because we were a plural family. So we basically moved because we were trying to be able to be a family without being torn apart or thrown in jail.
Robin Brown sat down with her daughters as they went church shopping to talk about her, past in the world of polygamy. Interestingly, Robin speaks about this in the past tense, which is something she's been holding on to this concept that she's still a plural wife, and now it seems like she might be letting this go. But something that she brought up in this clip is they are meeting with a church in Flagstaff. Now, I want to note that the pastor and the wife that are pictured here and the church that's named is not the church they elected to choose. And the church that they're visiting appears to be he says interdenominational. I don't even know what that means, but he claims that everyone is accepted and people come from all different kinds of backgrounds. And Robin and her girls are interviewing the pastor, obviously for TV purposes. This is so awkward. It actually is reminiscent of earlier seasons when they sat down with the Presbyterian pastor in Vegas and considered having the kids go to a youth group there. Now it is Brianna and Aurora sitting down to speak about their backgrounds. And naturally, Robin uses this opportunity to make herself the victim, because why wouldn't she make herself the victim? And she brings up the fact that if she didn't leave Utah, she would have gone to jail, or they would have gone to jail, which that's just not what happened at all. So this church shopping starts now, and Robin's got all kinds of stories to tell. Check it out.
Go to.
Yeah.
The state of Utah was threatening prosecution because of our beliefs, because we were a plural family. And so we basically moved because we were trying to be able to be a family without being torn apart or thrown in jail.
The truly bizarre part about this continued lie about why they had to leave Utah just drives me bonkers, because if you know anything about this case, and if you have seen the police report, they didn't even interview the Brown family at all. They didn't interview Christine, Robin, Mary, Janelle, or Cody. Police never made contact with them. Once, never one time, even though they've made all these claims about how police were showing up at their house and they were going to arrest Cody. Like, that never happened. It didn't happen. The police report took notice from public statements the family made on the show, and they reviewed statements they were making, like Robin claiming she was going to be a wife, Cody claiming that he had all these other wives living in one home, looking at the property records to see how Cody was living with these women, and they were looking at the statute of bigamy. But the primary thing at the very end of the police report was that they were noting that there was this involvement of the Brown family in a show on TLC. The purpose of the show was to highlight and promote polygamy. Polygamy at that time in Utah was a felony. It is still a felony, by the way. The only reason it is not a felony is if it's only polygamy. Like, so they say, like, we're going to prosecute this man and he has these wives and he's purporting to have these 3 wives, and it's going to be a ticket. That's it. But everyone would have to come together in that union as under consent, not under coercion or force. But the polygamy crimes are still felonies that are still in that statute, and it goes up in levels depending on what the crimes are. So it's not decriminalized by any means, because the crimes against children, women, all of that is not decriminalized, but they weren't kicked out. And we'll get there in a minute.
Mm-hmm. Well, our community has a ton of diverse, it's one of my favorite things, is there are people who are ultra charismatic Christians. We have people who grew up Islamic, Mormon, atheists. It's actually one of the things that I find the most beautiful about it.
So would you guys be considered non-denominational then?
We like the term interdenominational because it's not negating other denominations.
Right.
We love other denominations.
Right.
We love them and support them, and a lot of those people.
Oh man, I wonder what that guy was thinking on the inside of his head because the looks on his face and his poor wife. I would assume that would be his wife. I don't know though. The look on his face when Robin's like, "Yeah, we're basically fugitives on the run. We ran because we were going to get thrown in prison." And he's all, "Yeah, great, wonderful. Yeah, we accept all kinds of people here. We had people that were grew up this way and people that grew up Islamic and atheists and like trying to classify all these other religions in the same category as the criminal cult that is the Apostolic United Brethren is wild to me, but whatever. I understand that it's not the pastor's fault here. He is, being a pastor and, trying to show the world that everyone should be more like Jesus and accept and love everyone. But, this concept that they were going to be imprisoned is just hysterical to me because there was no threat to them getting arrested. The concern was that they needed to review records to see if any crimes had been committed, like bankruptcy frauds or welfare fraud, which had the Browns stayed around long enough and perhaps allowed them to look into it, they would have noted that Cody's wives would have been committing welfare fraud. And as a result of that, Cody might have been on the hook for the money that his wives were using.